Okay, so what's the difference in an LED video light and an RGB video light? In this video, we'll look at the Pixel RGB video light and learn about those differences. I was recently given the opportunity to review a very cool RGB video light from Pixel. I discovered that I really didn't fully understand the differences between your basic, fairly inexpensive adjustable video light and an RGB LED light. Now, I understand the whole idea of RGB, or red, green, blue colors to mix together to form a full range of colors. Your basic inkjet printer likely includes red, green, and blue colors to give you the full palette of colors used in photographs and other full color printing. I guess my thought was that an RGB light would use those colors to vary color temperature while providing a range of white light for illumination. That's not the case. The RGB video light from Pixel will allow you to change color temp and brightness like the more inexpensive video light panels, but that's just the beginning. The real creative value of an RGB light is that it allows you to change the color of the shot without using gels to change the color from a shade of blue to a shade of red, as an example. By using a white or nearly white background, you can build an image with nearly any background color, or capture a photo or video segment with a strong color component for some striking creative effect. The Pixel RGB light also has a couple of fun specialty settings where you can set it to emit a strobe effect if you want, for example, lightning in the background. It also has a set of red and blue strobe effects to simulate a police car's flashing light or those of a fire engine. For example, you as the filmmaker might shoot some video of an actual police or a fire event as B-roll and then cut to an actor in a studio setting with the red and blue strobes providing the tie-in between the two shots. Photographers can set the light's color to provide some bright or sinister mood during a portrait shoot in an otherwise neutral setting. So, with that in mind, let's take a quick look at the Pixel RGB light. Okay, so here's the retail box that the Pixel light comes in. Just pretty standard, and some of the manufacturer's information here on the back. But obviously it's what's inside that's important, so let's take a look at that. So inside the box is this kind of neoprene hard travel case that protects the light and keeps all the accessories together. Let's take a look at what's inside. First, there are instructions, and these instructions are written in Chinese, German, and English, and they're pretty easy to understand, so we've got the instructions here. In the netting bag are a couple of things. We'll pull those out here. First is a little connector. It's got a hot shoe type or cold shoe type mount here on the bottom, and then a 1/4x20 screw here on the top to go into the light. It's got a USB-C charging cable that you use to charge the light, since it's got an internal battery. And then it's got a USB adapter, and you can see this is different, that this side is the socket end of a USB-A as opposed to the plug end of a USB-A. And so if you need to change genders on your wiring, then that's what this adapter cable is for. And then last, of course not least, is the light itself, and it is held in place with this elastic band in the case to keep it all nice and tight and everything together. So all in all, it's a very compact set with everything you need to put the light to use. So let's talk a little bit about using the light and putting it to work. So the light itself has got a 1/4x20 socket on the top. This is the on-off in what they call the turbo switch, which allows a little extra brightness at the expense of power and heat. On this side are some controls. There are some dimming, and they're spring-loaded side-to-side switches and brightness switches. So we're going to use these in combination to make the choices that present to us in the menu. And then here is the charging port, that USB-C, another 1/4x20 on the bottom, and a third 1/4x20 on the other side, so that you can use this either vertically or horizontally on your camera or on your light stand. Now on the back, the other thing that this has, this Pixel G1, it has a little display. It's a little glued on plastic. You can feel a rise there, and it gives you the degrees of color along a color wheel. And so if you set 120, you're going to end up with a green. If you're in the 240, 250, you're going to be purple. You know, if you're up at 360, you're going to be red. And so it just gives you a visual indication of what the various degrees of color is going to mean when you're looking at the control panel up here at the top. Speaking of the control panel at the top, let's turn it on and take a look at what you have there. And at this point, I'm probably going to zoom my camera in a little bit to give you a little bit better view of what we're seeing there. Okay, so here we have the mode, where we have the mode switch right here that we can change. And so we can go from making selections within this. So I've got the H is the degrees of color, so it's at 324, which means it would be kind of a magenta color. The saturation is 95, and with this little arrow pointed at the 95, I can change the saturation using this switch right here and make it go up and down. So and then we press the mode again, and then I can make some adjustments to the overall color temperature. Again, I can, you know, go up to 56, down to the low end, which is in the neighborhood of 3,000. Let's see, we got 3,200. Okay, so those are the adjustments that you can make. The next mode then goes into the various other modes we have. So you can see it's gone over here. And so if I select that mode, I can go to A, to B, and to C. And so if I'm down in that mode, then I can press it, and I can switch between A and B and C and so forth. So that's making the changes in selections. Okay, so here with the 3 scene modes that we have, we've got the one with the strobing effect. And so you can see I turned the light on by a short press on the power button. And so you can see that it strobes a little bit to give you kind of that lightning thing. If you use this top button, you can change between the 3 possible choices. And so there are 3 choices there, fast and slow and that kind of thing. If you press the mode button again, it moves into this color range thing. This C mode, or C choice is selected now, and it basically just rolls through the range of RGB colors. Now this is called the candlelight mode, I think, and so it's kind of golden and it flickers a little if you wanted to send a that kind of a scene. I'm not sure that you can see it. You maybe see it changing just a little bit here on my background. And then if I go down to this emergency light, I can change from, you know, red and blue, and then I can also change to red and red, or red and white, you know, to simulate an emergency vehicle. So those are the 3 scene modes in this RGB light, and each of them has three different choices. So I'm going to move out of that now and go just into the RGB mode. Again, I've got the light on so you can see I'm at 324. That's kind of a magenta color. You can see that right here. I can change the color by using this second switch down here, and I'm just going to rotate down. I'm going to head toward, about 200. And so you can see I get down in the 260s, 270s. I'm down to 242 now. And I've got kind of a bright blue down here. So I've made that transition. I'm continuing on down. We'll get into the low 100s. You can see that I have transitioned into green down here. And then when I move down here to the low end, I'm transitioning into a gold and into a yellow. And essentially, it kind of loops back around and starts to get red again as I move toward the bottom. So it's, close and similar to what you have at the 360 if you think about this in terms of a circle. So those are the controls. Here, the mode switch, changing between the scenes, changing the brightness down here with this control. So we can just work our way through. So now we're in this RGB mode. When I get down here to where it says 4000, now I'm just in a white mode. So the light is going to perform very similarly just to that standard LED light, the inexpensive ones that you find. And so you can change the color temperature so that your lights match each other or match the setting that you're trying to simulate. Indoors or outdoors, and then the plus and minus up here will change the intensity. And as you can see, it as it grows in intensity, it gets pretty bright. So those are the controls. I'm going to take just a couple of minutes and show you a couple of photographs now of the various RGB modes I've taken in a little bit darker setting against a sheet of white paper so that you can see that as you change the hue figure with the degrees of color to match this line over here, then you can see how you could set some pretty dramatic types of scenes, and then you can use these various scenes over here to give you that lightning effect or that paparazzi effect. If you had it shining on a white background, you could just have the background either changing quickly or slowly through the color ranges, and then of course the various strobes like the emergency vehicles. So that's pretty much it on the controls and how this is used. Overall, it's got a nice heavy metal case. It's looking good. So, and then one of the other really handy features is if you just press the button quickly, you can turn the light off so that you can work the various controls, and then you can also move it into the turbo boost. So that's it, the Pixel G1. And so now let's go to some closing comments. The controls on this LED light are easy to understand and manipulate. The various modes allow you to use the light in a variety of ways, from a basic temperature-controlled white video fill light to more complicated effects such as strong colors or strobes. I really like that the light can be turned on and adjusted without the LEDs illuminating. That should allow for longer battery life and less heat at the bright settings when you can easily turn off the LEDs without turning off the entire device. As always, if you found this video helpful, please click on the thumbs up button below the video and subscribe to the Gadget Talk channel. Click on the bell icon to be notified when I post new videos. I've got an affiliate link in the description below the video that results in my getting a small commission from Amazon if you decide to get this light by clicking on the link. Your price doesn't change. Thanks for watching.